Hey y'all, welcome back to Dungeons 101 with Urkulin. Today I'm going to be going over the random dungeon queue version of Dread Sanctum. This dungeon seems to give people a little bit of trouble in the random queues, and I'm hoping to help out with a little insight into the mechanics of the bosses. When you first load into the dungeon, there will be a pack of mobs right around the corner that you will need to defeat. Once defeated, you will make your way up to the top, and one member of your team will need to interact with the chest here to get the grapple hook. Once obtained, your A button will transform into the grapple, and you will be able to target the post and grapple up to the next level. There will be two packs of mobs up here, one on the upper level and one on the lower portion. You can either kill these adds here or continue moving forward in the dungeon and pull them with you. You can either go left or right here. If you go right and engage the adds, or you can go left and make a jump over the green goop. There'll be one more set of adds right down at the bottom before the campfire leading to the first boss. You'll just need to kill these adds before you make your way into there. The first boss is a Thune Hulk looking dude named Graft Harrow. He will do some pretty basic mechanics for the first portion of this fight that should only target the player with threat. Additionally, he will do an AoE attack forming with him at the center that will deal damage to anyone caught in the area of effect. DPS and healers will want to stay out of this. You'll just be damaging the boss, and you can use artifacts and mounts and stuff on him. You'll just want to do damage on him until he gets down to 35% health. At 35% health, the boss will temporarily lock and get a large purple aura around him. If you continue to do damage to him while this aura is up, you will receive reflective damage back to yourself as opposed to dealing damage to the boss. When this happens, the DPS will need to go stand on one of the white crystals around the room and wait for the crystal to detonate. When it goes off, your character will receive a buff on them that allows you to deal damage to the boss while he is shielded with that purple aura. Your character will get a white glow around them and have small crystals floating around them as well. This is how you know you actually have the crystal buff. This buff is timed and only lasts for about 15 to 20 seconds. I'm not sure the exact time. Once the buff expires, if it is not cleansed prior to, the player will receive the shattered debuff and will get frozen in place for a short period of time. To prevent this from happening, players that have the crystal buff on them can step in one of the green pools around the room to cleanse the buff before it expires. Remember, you will need to reapply the crystal buff before you can begin damaging the boss again. A good indicator of time as to when the crystal is about to expire is the respawn of the crystals. That is a good time to cleanse. Continue doing damage to the boss until his health is 0, getting crystals and cleansing as necessary. Remember to stay out of the large red AoE. Once he is dead, you will continue on through the dungeon. There will be a couple of packs of adds that you will make your way through before grappling up one more level. Continue fighting through the adds until you reach the second boss arena. Remember, always allow the tank to lead and watch out for red AoEs. The second boss is an Elithid dude named Yalgor the Rank. This boss has a few more mechanics than the first. He will start the fight with the purple aura on him, requiring DPS to get a crystal and keep it active throughout the entire fight in order to deal damage to him. This boss remains stationary in the center of the room. Additionally, he will spawn in delusion adds that have an AoE attack that will stun players caught in it. The boss will do 3 different major attacks that we need to look out for. The first is a large red AoE underneath the boss. This attack will damage anyone standing in the AoE, likely killing any DPS caught in it. You will want to make sure you are not standing in this or getting stunned by the delusions in this. He will also do a red AoE that is a tracking attack, meaning it moves with the targeted player. This attack is single target and will only deal damage to the player that is targeted. Lastly, he will do a large red line attack that will deal damage to anyone caught in the line. Try to stay clear of this as well. Continue damaging the boss, getting crystals and cleansing as necessary until he gets to 50% health. At 50% health, the boss's health bar will lock and you will be teleported into a room full of green gunk and some platforms. Welcome to the parkour section of the dungeon. All you have to do here is make your way across the platforms, avoiding being knocked off by the AoEs into the green goop. If you fall off, just try to get back on the platforms as quickly as possible, as the green goo does quite a large amount of damage to you if you are in it for an extended period of time. There is an area that you are able to just run across the goo and make your way to the slanted platform and jump up if you do not want to do the parkour runaround. Sometimes it comes at the cost of a death. Up to you. Once you reach the end, you will just walk through the portal to re-enter the boss arena. The boss's health bar will unlock when everyone returns to the arena, and the process to defeat is the same as the first half. Avoid the AoEs and damage him down to 0, getting the crystals and cleansing the buff as necessary. Once Yalgor is defeated, you will continue venturing deeper into the Dread Sanctum. Defeat the ads as you encounter them. Remember to allow your tank to lead and get the aggro. Watch out for red AoEs. When you reach the end of the path, you will need to interact with the floating cube to enter into the third boss arena. The third boss is a big old dragon with a brain on his back named Ishigol Garundar. While fighting this boss, tentacles and delusions will spawn, both of which do AoE attacks around the arena that you will need to avoid. There will be pools of poison that the dragon spits out, as well as breath attacks and tail swipes that will need to be avoided as well. Continue damaging the boss until you get him down to 60% health. At 60% health, the boss's health bar will lock and you will be teleported to a new arena. The arena is the exact same as the one you were in, however, instead of there being a dragon, there will be 5 Demogorgon aspects instead. You will need to pay attention to the corners of the arena as well. The mechanic that plays out here requires you to kill all 5 Demogorgon and identify the safe corner of the room. The Demogorgons are relatively easy to kill. Once they are all dead, all 5 players will receive the crystal buff on them when you leave through the portal. Before leaving, you will need to identify which corner of the room has the multi-waterfall of green goop coming down from it. This will be the corner that you will need to run to when you exit the portal in the center of the room. Once you have identified the safe corner, leave through the portal and make your way to the green pool in that safe corner. Wait in this corner for the blast to go off. Do not leave from the corner until you see the crystals fly off of you when the blast is complete. Return to fighting the dragon, watching out for his AoE attacks as well as the delusion spawns and tentacle slaps. When the boss gets to 10% health, you will be teleported into another version of the arena again. This time, you will need to defeat the aspect of Garundar Dragon, avoiding AoEs and tentacle slaps during this. The aspect dragon does not have a very large amount of health and should be relatively easy to kill. Once it dies, players will need to get a crystal from around the room. They spawn in beside the tentacles. You will need a crystal to be able to damage the large brain. The brain has even less health, and so long as everyone gets the crystal and attacks it, it should die relatively easily. Once the brain is dead, you're teleported back out, and the dragon falls over dead. That's it. You did it. You beat the dragon. Be sure to collect your loot from the free chest upon completion. The key for this dungeon is the Dread Key. This key requires the campaign currency and is also the same key that is used in the advanced and master version of the dungeon. If you have intentions of farming either of those versions for gear, I do not recommend wasting your keys on the baby random dungeon version. Hope this tutorial was helpful and you guys get some good loot. See y'all next time.